That context, we have more statements from the US president where he says he wants to see a ceasefire in talks with the Russian president and warned that he would not be happy if it doesn't happen today. Trump added that Europe is not telling him what to do and cautioned that nothing is set in stone. He also said he does not know what would define the summit as a success. We're now joined by John Rossamondo, who is the president of Viking Research Associates. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. John, thank you very much for joining us here on the program. John, we've just heard two statements from the Russian president. The American president. One saying that he will walk away from the talks if this summit does not go to plan, or if a ceasefire doesn't happen. And he also says that he wants to see a ceasefire today. Your thoughts on Donald Trump saying this before a trilateral meeting with President Zelensky joining the talks? Apologies, Rubin Johnson, apologies for that. I addressed that question to you.
I'm sorry, say that again. I thought you were asking something, just very quickly. I'm sorry.
My apologies. We've just heard two statements from US President Donald Trump, one being that he is prepared to walk away from these talks, the second being that he wants to see a ceasefire this very day. Your thoughts on this statement, coinciding with the information that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has not been invited to Alaska?
Well, I've heard other stuff that Trump has said. He's also said that he will not make any kind of a deal of any kind with the Ukrainians not present. So there's not going to be any decision, if he is good to his word, on territory or anything else during these discussions. He could walk away simply because, in my estimation, Putin is playing a game. Putin is going to put some impossible conditions forward, and he's going to try to get Trump to pressure Zelensky to accept them. And if Zelensky rejects any effort by Trump to pressure by Trump to accept Putin's conditions, then Putin can say, oh, well, it's all Zelensky's fault. He's the obstacle to peace. He's the guy who won't agree. And I'm afraid that's the way that this thing is going. And Putin wants this territory in Donetsk, in the Donetsk Oblast, particularly. He's been trying for 11 years, count them, 2014 to now. His military has been trying for 11 years to take that entire province, and they can't do it. And they can't do it because they can't beat the Ukrainians. They can't do it because they've destroyed their own military. They can't do it because during a period when they were rearming, all the money was siphoned off in corruption. So he wants to do what every dictator wants to do, win without fighting. And this would be disastrous for Ukraine. So to reference a statement by one of the previous commentators, no, this is not Yalta 2.0, but it could be Munich 1938 2.0, because if Putin were to be given the rest of the Donetsk province, that would be giving the Russians this fortress belt, these four cities and other localities that stretch for a 30-mile length of territory. This is the defensive line against the Russians. And it would be like what we did to the Czech Republic. We gave Nazi Germany the Sudetenland. The Sudetenland contained all the fortifications the Czechs had built to keep the Germans out. Now they're naked and defenseless. And then what happens 7 months later? The Germans just walk in. That's what Putin wants. And if we're stupid enough to give it to him, we deserve everything that people say about us. That's bad.
Thank you very much, Rubin. We're once again joined by Lesia. Russia has denied these attacks on Sumy and accuses Ukraine of trying to disrupt the summit. What are your thoughts on this, Lesia, and the rhetoric coming out of the Kremlin? We have seen this change over and over again, the objective of the talks, the most recent message being that solving the war in Ukraine is not the leading and only reason for these talks. It's also to strengthen US and Russian relations. What are your thoughts on this, Lesia?
Actually, we live in these conditions when we have every day, every night, these bomb attacks during last 3.5 years. And you're absolutely right. Even today, before the summit, they also realized a new bomb attack on Sumy, where they killed a lot of civilian people. So for us, the most important signals, the most important results of meetings between President Trump and Putin. In future, I'm absolutely sure that we need the meeting with President Trump and Putin and Vladimir Zelensky. The first one is ceasefire. Russia must realize ceasefire. The next one, of course, as I mentioned, according to our constitution, we have the territories of Ukraine, and we are not able, according to the international law, according to the Ukrainian law, to recognize the territories which were occupied by Russians, that is Russian territories. The next one, for us, it's very important. If the result of the summit will not be very good, so United States, European countries must strengthen the sanctions. Because now, without a sanctions track, without economic actually track, it's impossible to let Russia to stop. And of course, for us, very important lives of our people. And in any case, we kindly ask President Trump, we kindly ask other European leaders to exchange our prisoners of the war, civilian people and soldiers, all to all.
Yes, Lesia, we thank you very much. We now have a statement that we've